This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
BS Report from All-Star Weekend. Chris Bosh, two-time champ, 4 straight finals. How does your body feel after 4 straight finals?
You know what, man? It doesn't. I don't feel my age. This year has been a struggle because we forget that even though we didn't win, we still played in the finals last year, and you kind of forget that. You only remember if you win.
Yeah.
And, after all those games, going down to the wire, playing every season, it's tough. But it's a part of the game.
I'm a diehard Celtic fan. In the mid-'80s, they made 4 straight.
Yeah.
84, 85, 86, 87. 87, the whole team just started falling apart in the playoffs, and Parrish's ankles went, and Bird's back, and McHale's feet, and it was just the toll of that. It's almost like we should count, especially conference finals and finals playoff games, should almost count like 2 games, right?
Well, they're definitely 2 games.
Mental intensity, all that stuff.
Just everything that is riding on it. The expectation, the pressure.
Yeah.
You got to kind of put your life on hold. Going through these situations, and it's the whole world is watching, and if you don't win, you're not considered successful.
Right.
And you can translate to the play on the court. Nobody wants to lose, and to win those games is extremely tough and very demanding. And you get through a game, you play the whole thing on E, and then it's analyzed over and over and over, and you get 2 days of that, and you either get full of yourself if you watch TV, or you think you're the worst player in the world.
Right.
And you can't do that.
You had some really interesting quotes about that, actually, because I think it was a couple weeks ago. You had a big decision. Houston's coming after you. You go to Houston, you're going to be a real contender when you have James Harden, you got Howard, you got Parsons they're going to keep.
Of course.
It was a little less money than you got from Miami. You end up staying in Miami. And somebody asked you about it 2 weeks ago, and you basically said, you know what? I was pretty worn out from being in that fishbowl.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I like it here, and I'm happy here, and if we get back, great, but I don't need to be in that fishbowl every year.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that an athlete conceded that point. Was that something you seriously thought about? I hate this fishbowl.
It's not that I don't hate it, but it's demanding, and it's a certain thing, it's a certain kind of power on your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You have to live a certain way. And, I have kids, I have family, I have other things I have to think about, and as well as my game. And, yeah, you kind of get tired of it. It's like, okay, I've done that. You're promising me this, and that's cool, but I've been down that road, and I know what it means, and I know what's waiting on me. Do I want to do that? I think I would rather stay here and see what we can develop here, and just
right. It's not like you checked out of the finals, but you just knew it was going to be a much tougher,
tougher situation. And you live with the choices you make, but like I said before, I had a bunch of other things to think about.
The other thing people forget is you won rings. It's one thing if you're in that Kevin Garnett, Minnesota, 2007 stage of your career.
Right.
You already won 2.
Yeah, and that's something to think about.
Get more money. You get to live in Miami.
Yeah.
You obviously like it there.
It's good. It's great. And my family loves it there, too.
Yeah.
I can't go there and say, hey, we've got to move.
Right.
I can't be the worst enemy in my house.
But you thought about it.
I thought about it, yeah.
How close was it?
It was close enough. Not very close to where it's like I'm weighing my decisions. I don't know what to do.
Let's pack, we're out.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. But, it was discussions. I think that was pretty apparent. And, it comes to a point in free agency where anything can happen, as we saw. And after everything kind of transpired, I think it hit us all out of left field, with LeBron going to Cleveland and everything. And we had to work off of that and, move on from there.
I was at the Pico in 2013. I remember I wrote that you reminded me of a great bassist in a band. Where you got the lead singer and the lead guitarist, and you're kind of over here, and it's like the people who really know music understand what you do.
Yeah.
The casual fans maybe don't, and they're just looking at the guitarist, but it seemed like you liked that.
Yeah, I've always loved this game. And, you know, we all have dreams when we come in. I wanted to be MVP. I wanted to do all these things. I wanted to, you know, put my team on the back, you know, and take them to the promised land.
Right.
And, you know, we all come in with that dream. But it changed for me very quickly. It's like, okay, how bad do you want to win?
Yeah.
And that's a question that a lot of guys, you know, think they want to answer, but you don't. Because when it comes down to it, you have to sacrifice a lot. And I was put in that position, and, you know, it's like, hey, man, you've got to, you know, be the best role player you can be and really fill that role and do what's best for the team. And, you know, I'm just glad it worked out. I was very proud of that.
What was the single best moment, like titles accepted? Was there a moment during those 4 years where you guys are just kicking ass and that you can remember where you're like, this is it, I'm on one of the best teams, like, ever?
I would say the 27-game win streak.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. I mean, at the time, it wasn't fun because
it was stressful.
Yeah, it gets stressful. Once we got to about 15, 16 games, every game was like a playoff game. Everybody wants to knock you off. And, you know, just going through that and kind of looking back saying, man, like, that was quite amazing. And then to finish off and actually, you know, win the title in that, you know, dramatic series. I just remember it being over. I just wanted it to be over. I'm sure it was exciting for the crowd and everything to watch, and it was epic, but I didn't want to do it anymore. It was just so stressful.
I thought you guys were done, and being in that building, I'll never forget it, because we were doing TV, but, like, it looked pretty much over, and LeBron went to a level I'd never seen him go to in the fourth quarter for about 9 minutes, because you guys were dead. You were just dead. I think the winning streak probably took a lot out of you in general, because you were playing playoff games basically. But LeBron for about 9 minutes went to some level I'd never seen him go to.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, every time it's going to look like it's over.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just remember, like, you know, you get so caught up in the game, you just kind of put all that stuff to the side. It's like, hey, man, we got to come back. And that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, to see LeBron elevate his game the way he did and be the great player that he was and actually respond in a tough situation like that was awesome. And then
you get some luck.
Yeah, get a little bit of luck. And
you got a great rebound, famous rebound.
Yeah. I got my iconic play
in traffic,
so
Ginobili's on your back.
Yeah. All I remember
nice pass.
All I remember was I thought we were done, and all I could remember was losing to Dallas, and, man, we're about to lose at home again. And they were bringing out the yellow rope and everything. I said, I can't believe this. And I looked at my wife, and she wasn't looking at me, but she was clapping and standing up. So that made me check back in. And I said, okay, all right, no, let's focus on the play. We hit a three, missed a free throw, we had a chance. And, you know, it was nothing, in that rebound, nothing else mattered in the world but that ball.
I can't remember the energy changing that fast. Because you time out, you're down 5.
Yeah.
You come out, LeBron throws up a brick. Like, it comes flying off the backboard. Everybody can't even get their hands up in time. Gets tipped, 3, foul. All of a sudden, Kawhi's at the line, and the crowd had been leaving. And we were sitting there in the TV stands like, they're only down 5. Like, this isn't time. I wouldn't go now.
You would think if people paid so much money for a finals ticket,
so
you would stay.
maybe wait one more possession.
Yeah, you know. But it worked out.
And Kawhi's at the line. All of a sudden, it was like you could feel it. And the way the crowd was cheering, and it just was like, oh, my God. Like, this kid's only 20. Like, these are some big free throws.
Very tough free throws.
Misses one, and then the Ray shot. So you get the rebound. Are you thinking to throw it back out, or are you thinking, where's Ray?
No, he's the first person I saw.
Yeah, okay.
So
rebound, boom.
Yeah, I mean, I get the rebound, and it's just like me looking at you. It's like, Ray.
But you knew it was going in. 90%?
I don't know. I was just, by that time, you're just watching it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just watching I'm just like, and it went in. It's like, oh my God, get back!
Right, get back.
You know, we had to snap out of it real quick.
Because I've watched him on the Celtics for 4 years. As you were throwing the pass, and normally I don't think this way. I'm always just kind of like dumbfounded watching everything. This time, the ball's going in the air toward him. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to tie the game. Like, I just seen it.
Well, yeah,
like, he lives for that.
Oh, his eyes were huge.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I remember. I remember calling my name, or I thought he called my name, and I just looked right at him, and there was no reason to look at anybody else. I just passed to him, and I asked him after. I said, do you practice that shot?
Yes.
He said, yeah. I said, you never know when you're going to shoot something.
Because he's a crazy person.
You never know when you're going to shoot a backpedal three in the corner.
Yeah.
And perfect. I mean, he didn't step on the line, didn't step out of bounds. He was perfectly in between the two
I really
lines.
think it was the greatest shot ever because I think he's the only person who would ever practice the footwork it took to go backwards and not go out of bounds. I don't even know who else would have thought of practice that. He's doing it at 3:30 in the afternoon with cheerleaders setting up in a dark arena, and he's in there practicing Game 7 shots.
That showed me that you never know. You should work on everything because you never know when you're going to have to use it or when you're going to have to go in your bag and say, hey, I've practiced this a million times, and to have, the body recognition and the muscle memory to actually do it in just, that situation. Yeah.
Well, and then you took care of business in OT, too. And the Spurs actually played pretty well in OT in that game, considering they just taken the all-time haymaker. Yeah.
we went down fast pretty quick, and I remember being down 4. It was like, it was something else.
Isn't it crazy how sports comes down to these little either-or moments? Because you had one in Dallas, too, in 2011, or at home. Mm-hmm. Game 2, you're up like 15.
Yeah.
Wade's doing stuff. He did something that fired up the Mavs, but 99% of the time you're going to win that game with LeBron and Wade and you on the team, and they just got hot, made some threes, all of a sudden they flip it. But if you win that game, you win that series. You could have had 3 titles. You could have had 1 title.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how things come down to. We always talk about, sports is the greatest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Especially basketball. And, you watch these series and you dissect them. I've watched tons of series over and over, and especially when it comes down to winning a championship, when it comes down to competing for a championship, even getting there, you have some stroke of luck, and you also have times when you really have to kind of hold the fort or make a miraculous comeback. And, you see it time and time again, and it always happens. And you don't know which side you're going to be on.
Yeah.
And it's always this kind of juggle that you have to really, really not focus on, but kind of get through. And kind of put in the back of your mind, but you have to play the game. And when it happens, you have to stay calm, which is very difficult to do.
Was there ever a time during that Miami, the 4 years, especially the first year, where you thought to yourself, what did I do?
Of course.
I could have gone, why did I put myself in this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was more so that first year.
Yeah.
Because
you guys were villains.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very fun being a villain. I never thought, I was just like, man, I just wanted to come and play basketball, and this is what it is. But, for whatever reason. But just, going through that and, going through a new role and kind of figuring things out, going from the first option to the third, it was very difficult on me. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I made the right decision. I could have, I would have, I should have. But, I'm glad we all stuck with it mentally. And it ended up working out. We had a great run. And, it's something that we can cherish forever. When
did you feel like it went from being Wade's team to being LeBron's team? Because I don't feel like it can be two people's team at the same time.
Yeah, it was in that December. I think Dwayne went ahead and said it. I remember.
The first year or the second year?
It was the first year.
Okay.
It was in the December, and right before we went on a run, he was like, "Hey, man, you go ahead and you're the best player on the planet, and just be the best player."
But I went to those finals games, and it still felt like Wade's team. Wade is like such an alpha dog, and he was spectacular in those finals games. I mean,
great player.
Athletically, that's the best shape he's probably been in. And I think, now it's like you guys get older, but he was just at peak of his powers in that thing. And I don't know, I just felt like, it always felt like they never quite figured it out totally.
Well, yeah, and that's probably the reason why we didn't, have the ultimate success that year. But I think that was a part of the things that we had to figure out moving forward, especially for them two, because, like you said, they're both alphas. We all are, but after a while, it's like, for me, it was easier. It's like, okay, I'm not you guys. I can't do what you do, but I can compliment you as best as possible. And after they figured things out, everything went great. Last
question, quick. You followed Deflategate, right, with the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
All that stuff. Why did the Spurs get off the hook for shutting off the air conditioning game 1?
I don't know, man. That's what I was saying. That was the most miserable game I played in.
Oh, what a coincidence. The heat's off.
Yeah.
Oh, and LeBron's getting dehydrated.
Hey, that's what I said.
They just got a free pass.
I said, hey, man, they did get a free pass. And I was like, but it was a good one. You got to give credit where credit is due. It was a good one.
Fuse box.
It was a good one.
Congrats.
But, it didn't come down to that.
By the way, you guys are kind of a stealth playoff sleeper if everybody gets healthy.
Yeah, we're just trying to get it together, man.
Be like, you're the 7th seed nobody wants to play.
Yeah, we just need to get healthy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want for this group is to be healthy, and that's all I ask for.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming
a lot,
on.
man.
More from All-Star Weekend after this. All-Star Weekend, New York City here with 2 of the 4 All-Stars on the Hawks. Kyle Korver, Al Horford. 4 All-Stars. It's pretty good. It puts you in rarefied company, but I think you guys deserve it. I thought you guys were the best team I saw this year. What is happening? Explain it to me.
I feel like we've all bought into what Coach Bud has been trying to build in Atlanta and how he wants us to play, and we've put in the hard work defensively. On offense, we're sharing the ball, we're having fun, and we've been working pretty hard as a group. So I'm just very proud of what we've been able to do so far.
What does that mean when buying into what Coach Bud wants to do? What is that?
Yeah, I think we all realize that we're all a kind of specific piece to the puzzle, and we're a bunch of pieces that fit together well. I think. We all feel like we matter every single time down the court. On offense and on defense, we matter.
Yeah.
Like we may not shoot the ball, but you're not just gonna stand in the corner and space out and create room for someone else to operate. You're gonna set the screen or you're gonna make the pass. Like your piece matters every single time down the court. And when you matter like that, you naturally play a little harder.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of bought in more. I think with success in the NBA, a lot of it is just like playing hard every night, right? Like getting guys to play unselfishly and play hard. And I think the system that Bud's put in, like we all enjoy it. It's not just buying in. Like we all feel like we matter to the system, and everyone's bought into that.
I saw you guys in person. You killed the Clippers. I think it was the Clippers. Yeah. The thing that struck me as I was watching, this was right before your streak took off, and I came away thinking like, wow, those guys could win the title. But the thing that struck me was nobody takes bad shots. You don't have that one guy who comes in there and is just like jacking up or breaking a play or whatever. It's just like everybody kind of knows what to do and everything brings something to the table, but nobody really takes stuff off the table. Is that part of like just being in the team framework, or did you just get lucky with who's on the team?
I think it's been a learning process for us.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a group of guys that are willing to be better and to help our team be the best team it can. And there's certain shots that Coach likes or certain shots that he doesn't like so much. And if he doesn't like them, he'll show you. He'll let you know. And I feel like that's kind of been it. With our group, I felt like, we've learned and that's made us play better offensively.
Can he take a bad shot?
No.
When you're shooting 50% from 3, is there a bad shot?
No.
Like a half-court shot?
No. I'm confident in him every time. His threes are like layups for us.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't want to hear that, but like it's true. We're on the break and if he's shooting the 3, I'm okay with him. If I have a dunk and he has a 3 and he's shooting, I'm okay with that.
Right. What's different this year? I mean, you were always good.
Yeah.
But this year it seems like you're just locked in every game. I don't understand what happened.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think, one, I'm the healthiest I've been in a long time.
Really?
I think, I've dealt with some knee and elbow things over the past few years, and it's never enough to hold you out, but it's always enough to affect you, you know? And I think as a shooter, and like the whole goal is to make your shot the same every time. That's what shooters always talk about, right? And when you
it's like
have...
golf.
Right. And when every third jump, you have a sharp pain in your knee or you have something in your elbow, like it's just hard to shoot the same. And so health, I think, has been a big thing for me. I think being on this team and playing this system, I feel like I get utilized a bit differently than I ever have before. Like I'm not just waiting for the ball to come to me. I get to search things out a little more. And, as I'm searching things out, if I feel like they're over-guarding me, I can still, set a flare screen for Al or something. And so whereas maybe I didn't shoot at that time, like I felt like I was a part of the play.
Yeah.
And that helps with rhythm and everything. So I think being able to search out shots, you shoot shots a little bit differently when you're searching them out rather than when you're waiting for them, if that makes sense. And I feel like I get to be in constant motion, and it just helps me a lot. So it's a combination of a lot of things.
How healthy are you?
I'm
95% now?
Yeah, I'm as healthy as I've been. At the beginning of the year, for me, it was a little harder. I started halfway through October to
I can tell that first year you weren't. I mean, the first month, you didn't seem right.
So for the first 2 months, November, December, I didn't feel very comfortable. I wasn't in shape. I wasn't physically. It's kind of a mental process, I feel like, and the more games we played, and the more confident the more confident I became. So when January started, that's when I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel back normal. I'm starting to feel good again, and now I feel really good. So I'm very happy, and I just look to keep helping the team get better and growing. This is the home stretch of to finish the season the right way, and I'm excited where I'm at physically and how I'm feeling now.
At what point during this season, first it was like, oh, it's cute, the Hawks are doing well, and then at some point you guys became contenders. At what point in the season could you feel the other teams taking you a little more seriously? I guess that's. Or there was a different level of respect for you guys?
Yeah, it was probably at some point during. I don't think there was a certain moment. I think as a team we've grown in confidence by the game. We still haven't really proven anything as a group, and we know there's still a lot of games to play and playoff series to win and all that. And I think we know that, and because we do know that, I think it's kept us playing kind of on edge, and we still have something to prove, which is important. I think at some point during that streak, teams were kind of starting to even just talk to us differently before the game, or you know what I mean,
like how? What's an example?
Just telling us that we're having a great year, or maybe some guys not talking to us who you normally would talk to you before, or just you could tell the teams were a little more serious. You know what I mean? A lot of times in the past, when teams come to Atlanta, they're not quite as focused. But now they're a little more focused.
Well, and some of the things that Kyle would say was we need to start out the game ready to go, and because if teams are coming out and guys are ready to go and give us a good shot, and we have to be ready. If we come out lackadaisical, I mean we'll get 15-20 points behind, and one of the things that our team has been able to do is to keep focus and come out ready to play. And
you have a home crowd all of a sudden that's affecting games and stuff.
I know.
Yeah. When did that start? About a month in?
I think a lot of these things happened during that streak.
Yeah.
You know what? No, the crowd really started, because I actually remember this specifically. It was when we came back. We had a trip that we played Dallas and Houston.
Yeah.
And the Clippers game, that next game, we were like, well, we're playing the Clippers, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin. In Atlanta, usually a lot of people come out for that. But we noticed that it was different. The crowd was really into it, and it was there for us. And it was a back-to-back for us, that game. I don't forget that, just because we were kind of dragging, and the crowd really gave us that energy. And in the fourth quarter, we kind of took off and ran away with the game. So it was mid-December, I would say, because we've had okay teams in the past, and the fans have been down, but with this team, I feel like they feel it's a little different, and they're rallying.
Yeah, and the defense of the Atlanta fans, they haven't. They've had okay teams, but not really super fun teams. Mm-hmm. I think the Dominique era was the one time where it was wow, this is great. But even when you guys were making the playoffs with Josh and those guys, they were successful teams. But this team's just incredibly fun to watch. I find myself home on a Thursday night or Tuesday night. I'm getting sucked in by you guys just because of the ball movement.
Yeah.
And it seems like in general the league is starting to drift toward the way you guys play. You see some other teams that kind of have that same kind of unselfish, everybody moving. It's just this is now not becoming a trend. I feel like this is becoming the way to win. Don't you guys feel like this is an advantage to move around like that?
Yeah, it's interesting. like Tibbs' defense, the whole, keeping the ball on one side of the floor, icing, keeping the pick and rolls down. Like when that first came on the scene, it was like, whoa, what are they doing? And it was winning, and it was everyone wanted a piece of it.
Yeah.
And now I kind of feel like this is maybe the offensive version of that.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're kind of getting a little like, oh, that's interesting. It's a little different. Like, and now a few more teams are starting to do it. Like I kind of think it's kind of moving in the same direction as that, maybe.
The other interesting thing about your team is if you just go guy by guy, everybody's got something to prove. Everybody was either, bounced around a little bit or, got signed some contract that it was kind of like, well, we'll see if you're good or not, or was overshadowed by somebody else. I've never seen a team like that where there's not, even like German Rondo, your backup point guard. Like that guy went 17th, 18th in the draft. Plus, he's your one character, right? Is he, or is Antich who's the character? Who's the number one character?
We have a lot of characters in our team.
But somebody's got to be the character. German Rondo feels like he's the character.
Dennis is, how old is he, 20 or 21? He's 21, extremely confident. He is the character.
Confident.
He's extremely confident.
At the Clipper game, he was going right at Chris Paul. Like he wanted it.
He's not afraid. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. He plays hard. And he can actually shoot the ball.
Yep.
He can play.
He can play. He's a really good player. And I feel like he's just going to keep getting better. And he works too. I mean, he's hungry.
I think Chris Paul was like, I sit pretty close to the court. Chris Paul was like, this guy thinks he's better than me. What's going on right now? This guy's like 20. He's got a dye part of his hair. I think he was just kind of confused by the whole thing. The trade deadline's coming up. You guys just traded Adrian Payne for a future pick, and then people are like, oh, that, like, would you even want to trade at this point? It feels like it would be dangerous to mess up what you have, right? Like at this point, like just bringing any outsider into this would make me nervous.
Well, I don't think our management's going to bring in just any outsider. I think they would bring in a piece that would fit well, and like we're the players, and we don't really say a whole lot about that kind of stuff. But
I wouldn't.
But yeah, it's you don't want to add anything that's like we like our group and we like where we're headed, not just for this year, but going forward. Like we really like our group a lot, and so I'm sure they'll be careful with what they had.
What'd you learn from the playoffs last year?
I think it was the playoffs are different, and I think a lot of our guys hadn't really played. Because you left that series on the table. I felt like. Yeah, Game 6 should have been ours for sure.
Yeah.
But that's good though for this year.
Yeah.
Now you'd be like, don't forget last year. You get through that whole thing.
I think you learn a lot from it. Just playing in a Game 7, I think was good for a lot of our guys who hadn't really been in that situation. Like it's just it's a learning experience for all of us. I guess time will tell what we really learned. Wait till we get to the playoffs again. But I think it was definitely good for us to be there and to be in some pressure situations and. Like you said, to learn from a Game 6 last year. What was the best game you guys have been in this year, where just the quality of play was really, really way up there? Because I've seen a couple. You guys have been in like 3 of the best 10 well-played games of the season, but was there one that stood out where you're like, wow, this was probably what the finals feels like?
Recently the Golden State game was good. It was a fun game.
Excellent.
That was a real fun game. Real good tempo. Our crowd was amazing. I felt like we really played well in the fourth. At Portland. At Portland, we played really well. We played at Portland. Yeah, we played really well. It was on a back-to-back as well. They're a really good team. We've been part of a lot of fun games, and we played Golden State at home, and we played Memphis on the road back-to-back. And we lost at Memphis. We did not shoot the ball well, at all. But I was really encouraged after the game, even though we lost, because we definitely could have won that game. But we went from a total fast-paced, balls flying, everyone shooting threes, to Memphis was grinded out, tough environment. And we were right there, too, for that game. And that's the 1 and 2 teams in the West. And so I think after those 2 games, even though we didn't win the second game, I was really encouraged after that one. The one thing people keep saying about you guys is, if they go against a team with size in the playoffs, they're going to be in trouble. You must take that personally a little bit, but is there any validity to that?
like a team like Memphis, where they're just throwing out Gasol and Zebo. You got to battle those guys for 40 minutes a game.
Yeah, the way that I look at it with our group, we do things as a team.
Yeah.
Our guards do a great job, helping us, and our bigs. We actually have Pero Antich, that's really good post defender. Elton Brand, a savvy veteran, and even guys like Mike Muscala. They hasn't played much because I'm playing a lot this year, but he's another guy that's good. And I know that he's not proven in the playoffs and all that, but we're confident in what we have. Yeah. We're we play a certain style. We like to play fast, and I'm confident. I'm confident about it.
All right. And this guy's like the most underrated big man in the league?
Probably. For now.
For now. All right, good luck. I like watching good basketball, so I'm rooting for you guys. It's fun to watch you guys play. Good luck. Enjoy the weekend. Congrats on the 4 Hawks thing. We'll be back with more after this. We're at All-Star Weekend. I'm here with America's favorite backcourt, Elfrid Payton, Victor Oladipo. What do you think of this stuff? You were in Louisiana last year.
Oh, man. It's fun. It's fun. A lot of media, things like that. Getting to walk around with other guys here. This is cool.
Yeah, was this like a lifelong dream? Like someday I'm going to go to All-Star Weekend?
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody want to be in the NBA. Dream about being here.
You just helped him out with the chair.
Yeah, you was kind of rocking.
You're doing well. Remember we met at the job interview?
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was about a year ago.
I went on the draft. I told everybody you should be the number 1 pick. Yeah, I feel vindicated.
You do? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my way.
You're bringing it.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. A little bit,
Bringing the fire? You get a little feisty with guys?
Yeah, a little bit, man. Got to prove myself. So.
Any people still talking trash to you, or people have now shut up?
No, I don't think people talk too much trash. They might get, in the heat of the moment.
Heat of the moment?
Might say something crazy, but other than that, nothing too crazy.
What do you think about playing with this guy?
I love playing with EP. You know what I mean? He kind of feisty and gets after it just like I do. You know what I mean? So it's always good to have somebody like that right next to you. When he's up pressuring guys, it makes you want to do the same thing. So definitely feed off his energy when he does that.
Did you take it personally where you went in the draft? Are you one of those guys that remembers everybody who got picked before you?
Nah, I'm not one of those guys. But
yeah. He is. He only had one person picked ahead of him.
I definitely just want to prove, that I belong now, and that I'm one of the best from the class.
So new coach? You have an interim coach? Is that what's that like? To all of a sudden your coach isn't there anymore.
Oh man, it's a little different. This past couple of weeks have been a little different, but something that I've never experienced, he's never experienced, but. I think it's definitely pulled our team closer together. It's definitely made us realize that we need each other in order to win. James Borregos, who's there now, he was there before, so we're familiar with him and what he brings to the table. So it's pretty much just us against the world right now.
Yeah.
You guys, I think you have a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah.
And I felt like you underachieved for what the talent was, and just you've so much youth and. I don't know. It just seems like the way you play, it should just be like boom, like these athletes everybody can be terrified of. But don't you feel like this is going to start to blossom a little bit these last 2 months?
Yeah, definitely. I think the last 4 games have been, how we're going to play. We've been doing well. We're getting after defensively, holding teams under 100 points.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to look forward to.
Who's the best point guard you played so far?
Oh, that's tough.
You have to answer it. You can't back out of it either.
I'm going to go Chris Paul.
Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Was he talking to you?
No.
He was just surgically going after you?
Just getting his offense into, they never took a bad shot the whole game.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
How about you? Who's the best? Are you guarding threes or are you just guarding twos and ones?
Yeah. The other game, I switched on to Nene and it was crazy.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. But I'm guarding everybody, man, everybody.
So who's the toughest? Durant? LeBron?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I think James Harden's probably one of the toughest to guard in the league.
James Harden. I should have brought him up first.
He
just gets to the rim every time. How does he do it?
He does a great job of drawing body contact so he can get to the foul line. So, and it's hard, man. He just puts it out there, and it's like, no, it's there, but it's not really there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
you said drawing body contact. It feels like half the time he's not actually getting fouled.
Yeah.
He's just doing this thing and there's some optical illusion to it.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it. Hopefully he could teach me. I might steal it from him.
What about all these dudes now could shoot like 45, 50% from three, and you just have to be like you're playing Korver. You just have to be constantly terrified that you left him alone for a split second, right?
And that's all he needs too.
Yeah.
It's literally a split second and it's going up. So he even call it Korver rules. Like you got to chase him on screens and stuff like that. He's got his own rules. So I mean, guys like that, you definitely have to be cognizant of.
Are you social media? You on there? Twitter
Yeah, I'm on
and stuff.
Yeah.
You read your Twitter replies and everything?
I don't.
Good, smart.
I don't.
That's good. Are you reading your Twitter replies?
Nah, man.
Stay away from your Twitter replies.
I don't do that stuff, man. I don't read it. I just scroll to the top.
You scroll to the top? Good. All right, because stuff happens, people, whatever. You can't let that shake your confidence. How are you going to get better second half of the season?
Just being a better leader of men, trying to be more efficient.
Well, that's why I liked you when I was doing the draft and I was studying all the clips. It seemed like you were ordering everyone around, which I like. That's what I like from my point guards.
Yeah, just trying to.
You don't order him around though. Nobody orders you around.
You know what he's doing, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just out there, man. Just doing my thing.
Tell me about Vucevic. He'll have these games where he gets 28 points and 25 rebounds.
The dude is gifted, man.
Talented. So talented.
So talented.
The jump shot, finish with either hand.
Are people taking him seriously now, the other teams? Or they're still like he's sneaking up on people?
No, I think they taking him
they're
serious.
taking him serious.
They're starting to double team him.
And he's still getting numbers.
Yeah, so.
He's real.
Yeah. Who was the best team you played this year?
I gotta go with Memphis.
How come?
Just defensively, what they bring to the table, and offensive execution. Mike Conley is another good point guard. They just run their stuff to perfection.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh man, it's tough. There's a lot of good teams in the league. Memphis is really good. San Antonio, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
We played them down to the wire, and they just
tough shot after tough shot.
Execute down the stretch like no other. They know where each other's spots are. They drive and kick, relocate better than anyone in the league.
Yeah. They always make the extra pass.
It's always make the extra. They go from good to great to greatest, and it's ridiculous. So I would have to say them.
You know what's funny about you? All the Indiana people love you.
I wonder why.
You have you like real, like legitimate. Everyone from there is following you.
Yeah.
So you following their team this year?
Yeah, the Pacers. Yeah.
No, the
the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man.
So what's your scouting report?
We going dancing. We going dancing.
You going dancing?
No question. We going dancing this year. Everybody get ready, cause I'm ready.
Like dancing. Final Four dancing, or just like showing up for the tournament dancing?
We going dancing. I'm not specifying. I'm just saying we going dancing. So everybody get your dancing shoes on, cause I'm gonna have mine.
What Cody Zeller? Why hasn't he taken off more than we thought he was gonna do? What's going on there?
I don't know. I think it's a different situation in Charlotte. There's players. There were players in front of him. You know what I mean, and they got good players already there. But I think he's coming around. You know what I mean, slowly but surely. I think he's doing his thing, and I think eventually he's going to blow up. Man, he's really talented, and he can do a lot of things differently at his size that we've pretty much never seen before. So
you take him on your team?
Man, any day of the week, man.
You should call the GM. Try to offer some picks. What do you care about picks? Enjoy All-Star Saturday. I picked you for Rookie of the Year. Like, it's just stepping up like 20%. I feel like we're in this.
We can do it, man.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Step up, a couple triple doubles. Fill that box sheet.
I got you.
Like 6-7 steals, and just get everything up there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Good luck.
All right, baby.
Good
Appreciate
seeing you. Do your thing. Keep doing your thing. Keep battling those dudes.
No doubt, I got you.
Yeah. Remember, everybody said you were 2 inches too short. Take that personally.
I will.
I always believed. We'll be back with more All-Star after this. All-Star Weekend, New York City. A 3-time champion. He played for the Pistons. Oh, no. You didn't play it. Somehow you didn't actually play in the NBA, but I feel like you...
I played one game, an exhibition game.
For who?
Shot a jumper. I played for Philly against Minnesota.
What year was that?
They all run together now. I can't quite remember. It's like 92, maybe 92, somewhere
Okay.
like that. Nice little jumper from the corner, made it, sat myself down. Anybody else ever done that?
No.
Pretty nice, huh?
It's pretty good. Ahmad Rashad. I don't throw this word around loosely, but a legend. You have.
I appreciate that.
I'm more fascinated by your life and just everything that's happened in it than just about anybody. You're just all over the place. You intersect with more famous people, and you have more stories, I'm guessing, than just about anybody.
You know,
is that fair?
That's fair. I think that I have had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And fun has been important in everything that I've done. I enjoyed playing football in NFL. I enjoyed doing television. I enjoyed being here with you this morning. It's just when I wake up, I decide to be happy and have a happy day. That kind of stuff.
What is it about your personality that so many different famous people who normally don't have a lot of people around them just decided, that's my guy, he's cool. I love this guy. I like being around this guy.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. You know, I know that the relationships I do have, that people that are supposedly famous, are two-way relationships.
Right.
You know, they're not like, it's like, hey, I'm going to hang out with this guy. It's just my friend. So,
but you have more friends than, I mean, you just have like
maybe it's,
hundreds of friends.
I don't know. People like to have fun. I like to have fun. People want to be happy. I like to be happy. So it's that kind of thing. And I guess there's no line. You can't draw the line between sports.
Right.
I like all sports. I have a lot of good friends in sports or entertainment that play sports. So I don't know. I don't really know.
Is it fair to say you can fit in any room?
I think I might be able to.
Any group of people. It doesn't matter if it's like billionaire hedge funds traders.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's the Lakers right now.
Right.
It's a bunch of football players from 40 years ago. Like, you could just kind of blend in.
I'm comfortable in every one of those rooms. I mean, just as comfortable in all of them. And that's good.
Right.
That is good. Because I went to a golf thing the other day with a bunch of people that it was very strange that I was there. But I had a great time.
Right.
I had a great time. It's like, oh, who's that guy who was there? It's like, really?
All right, let's go back to the 80s, or late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
You're a receiver on the Vikings.
Yeah.
You have this whole other life that people just know you as Ahmad Rashad.
Do you know I led the league in receiving 2 times?
I know. You were a really good receiver.
See? Now, say that again. They think I just played. I was all pro.
You different name? You were Bobby Moore initially, and then you were Ahmad.
Yeah, only 1 year in the pros I was Bobby Moore. And then I was
I have a Bobby Moore football card.
You better hang on to that. Yeah,
what's that worth now?
It's got to be worth something. Because I haven't even seen it. Somebody showed me one and said, would you sign it, Bobby Moore? I said, well, I could sign it anything you want if you like. But I never saw a card. You have a card? That's my rookie year.
Yeah, I thought there's a Bobby Moore rookie card.
Holy smokes.
Pretty sure. I'm
you
sure
might
I
be
have
the
it somewhere in my garage.
You better find it, because I think it's worth at least.
I hope I'm not getting into a Brian Williams situation where I'm claiming that I have the card.
No.
Oh, wait, there's no card.
Oh, you don't have a garage.
Let's assume I have it. I have all the football cards from that year. So
next, I wouldn't even call me when you find it. You call me and text me you found that card.
You signed my Bobby Moore card, but I don't misremember the. So the Cleveland fans blame you for ruining the Browns.
Well, but you know, it was the year.
You kind of did.
Well, but they had they were the Cardiac Kids, and they had won that way.
Yeah, you killed the Cardiac Kids.
But so the catch was not only to beat them, but it was to win the championship and move us into the playoffs.
You won the
we
NFC
lose, we're out.
Central.
Yeah, we lose, we're out. They lose, they got another game because they made it in anyway.
So for those of people watching who don't know what we're talking about,
you mean they don't understand
Hail Mary,
that?
Vikings Browns.
The Hail Mary,
1980. One of the first famous Hail Marys, I feel like. You guys went 80 yards in 2 plays somehow.
Yes.
And you caught off the tip, you run in, and it became this iconic. NBC used to show like the great plays before the games, and they would always show that one. And when I was a kid, I just remember that.
This is fodder for Michael Jordan.
What do you mean?
Can you do this?
Right.
You can score all them points. Could you do this? He couldn't play football worth the damn. He said he played like one time, and the last thing he remembered was being carried out on a stretcher, putting a thumbs up like he was okay.
Is that
and
true?
Never returned. Yes, he never returned. It's like, yeah, could you do that? See the ball bounce around like 3 or 4 people and then caught it?
Right.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland fans still bring that up to you to this day, right?
To this day, I can't go through a Cleveland airport, which I rarely do anyway. But I run into a lot of people down in Florida from Cleveland that all remember the catch. They all
You
remember
broke
the
my
catch.
heart in 1980.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, at least they remember I played.
Why did you retire? I forget. Were you banged up, or
No.
did you want to get out a year too early? Because you retired relatively young.
And nobody believed me. I mean, I'd done 4 straight Pro Bowls, and then I said I quit. The reason I quit was I had started working in television my last 5 years while I was playing, full time. So I went to practice, I left practice, I went to the studio. And I did all sports. I did high school basketball, I did wrestling, I did all kinds of stuff for 5 years while I was playing. And then it just got to the point where I realized that I wanted to do something else. You know, I can remember I had some friends that were going to Paris, and it was like October, and I really wanted to go. And we had a game on Sunday, but I really wanted to go.
So mentally you were out.
It's like, I got to get out of here. So then I just decided that was it, and never looked back. And
But you played football. You played receiver.
Yeah. I was a running back in college.
Right. But you played receiver in the worst possible era to be a receiver, when you had all these crazy cornerbacks and safeties who were leading like this over the middle.
I led the league in receptions with 51 catches one year.
Right.
And 50 was a superstar.
Because you couldn't throw over the middle in those days because the guys would get crushed.
Well, you couldn't get off the line of scrimmage because they could bump and run and just hold you.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Jim Plunkett one day. He goes, when I played, he said I would back up 7 steps and my receivers would not even be off the line of scrimmage because they would just clamp you down. So it was a harder... And I don't mean to sound like some old guy.
No, you're 100% justified.
I'm just being honest.
This is true.
The rules are now that if you don't catch 100 balls, you suck. Everybody's open in 3 steps. That's why you see quarterbacks catch the ball and throw it. You couldn't do that back in my day. No one would be open.
Well, did you watch Super Bowl?
Yes.
So Edelman in the second-to-last Pats drive goes over the middle on a 3rd and 14, gets crushed by Cam Chancellor, holds onto the ball. Everyone on Twitter is like, he has a concussion. Like that was like a routine hit in your day. That was like a mosquito bite for you.
They used to have them clotheslines, and it was always like great stuff. If you did that, that was a good thing to do. And there was also a rule you could never go underneath the linebacker because his job, if you ever went underneath him, his job was to take your head off, just club you right on the head. That's a penalty now. So the rules have changed. It makes the game more exciting. It's much more exciting, but it was crazy when we played.
When I grew up as a Patriot fan, but I loved Sammy White.
Did you guys have, was it when you were Patriots fan, they had the little
Randy Vitaja.
No, not Randy Vitaja, running back.
Oh, Mac Heron.
Mac
Heron.
That was
one of my first favorite dudes.
Mac Heron.
Yeah.
Mac Heron used to come in after the group. We'd have a little hat, broke over with a thing on a nice tie and about an 8-button jacket. Every time I saw him.
Mac's career ended abruptly for reasons that remain unclear. And he was one of those guys from the 70s. It was like, Mac Heron's not around anymore.
Yeah, nobody messed with Mac either, man. He was like 5'2".
So I love Sammy White. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Maybe because I was 6 and he was really fun to watch. But then he got destroyed in that Raiders game.
Oh, my God.
One of the all-time, oh, my God, that guy's dead.
Yeah,
his helmet actually came off.
You're right.
But that era was scary. I watched the Stingley game, too. I mean, I know that was the worst hit of that decade, but I was watching that one live when that happened.
Who was the guy they call me assassin?
Jack Tatum. That was the guy who did that to Stingley.
I totally was front this game. Jack Tatum was such a badass.
Yeah.
I remember we went to play Oakland one night, and I had my guys. You know, on a football team, you're only as good as your bad guy.
Yeah.
Whoever your badass guy is, that's your swagger, your team. So I had Jim Marshall and Alan Page and Chuck Foreman. They're all in my room. And he comes over.
Jack Tatum?
Jack Tatum comes over just to say hi. How you doing? He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Comes over the room. So when he comes over, he's got these dark glasses on, right?
Yeah.
And he comes on, it's pitch night, and he comes on and we're talking. And I noticed the whole thing in my whole room, everybody just got quiet. Our bad guy stopped talking, just kind of not really know what to do. And so Jack is there for like 20 minutes, and he got up to leave, and he still had these black glasses on. So he goes to walk to the door, and he goes to the closet. It ain't the door. And he opens the closet and takes 2 steps in the closet. No one laughed. No one in the room.
Wow.
Until he got out the door, and we were sure he was at least at the parking lot, and then we started laughing.
Yeah, you didn't want him to see you laughing.
No, it was I never forgot that.
That team was so scary that him and George Atkinson were the 2 scariest guys in that team, but they had another guy in the secondary named Dr. Death.
Yeah.
And he was the 3rd scariest guy in the team, Dr. Death.
Yes, his name was Skip. He went to USC.
Skip something.
I can't remember his last name. They also had Bubba Smith.
Yeah.
They had, you'd play the Oakland Raiders in those days. I was playing for St. Louis. We had to line up in the line to do our calisthenics perfect. Them guys down there had their shirts out. They were talking, 2 dudes smoking on the side. It's like, we can't beat them.
Right.
We can't beat them.
So do people now, like if you meet somebody under 20, do people think you were in the NBA now?
Yeah, they think I was in the NBA. Absolutely.
So you should just create this false narrative that you played on the Lakers. You were the 6th man.
So here's the one. My daughter, who's now 27, she came home to school one day and she was about 15, and she goes, "Dad, there's a guy in my class that wants your autograph. He says you played football. Did you?" That was like the day that I went, okay, I've been downplaying this football thing too much. Because when I quit, I wanted to forget I played football. I want to be so good in television that nobody will remember I played football. Then all of a sudden it was like, did you play football? It's like, we need to bring this back a little bit. Right. And therefore, that's why I came in this morning, for me and you to talk about my football.
Yeah. Now we laid it down.
That's right.
Well, you're on NBC all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. You're with Costas.
Costas and I had a great time.
The most overqualified NFL studio host ever. They're just way too good for that.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun though, man.
And that was a great show.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
And then you proposed to your girlfriend on a studio show, and somehow you don't take shit for this.
Yeah, but why should I allow? It was a nice romantic moment.
Super romantic.
It was and it was real, and it was romantic. It wasn't planned. None of the people behind the cameras knew I was going to do it.
But this goes back to the legend of Ahmad Rashad. Like you could do that. I think if a lot of people did that, people like, dude's proposing to his girlfriend on TV. What are you doing? But it was like, oh, Ahmad did it. It's fine.
I don't know. I don't know. There was a little softness to it. I guess if somebody else would have done it, they would have probably killed him.
Right.
Although,
but when you did it, it was a nice gesture.
Except that there's a guy I found, the guy that works with Wilbon.
Kornizer.
Wrote a bad article. I have it to
Uncle
this day.
Tony?
Mm-hmm.
What did he write?
How cheesy it was, and how this and that and the other. And I think I told him I kept that article. I still have it. I saw it not long ago.
You should confront him about it when you see him. He'll be very apologetic.
I think I did already. I think I did.
Can we do it again on the podcast?
Very good. So, can I start like this? The guy that works at Wilbon?
So you had that. So you're on that show, which everybody watched. And then all of a sudden you launch Inside Stuff.
Bill, there was a time when I had a show on
with the future Mrs. Bob Iger.
Yeah, there was a time there was a show on every single day. I had a game show that was on every day. The Inside Stuff was on every Saturday. I did a Sunday basketball game every Sunday. That was for about 5 or 6 years.
I forgot about that. You were the sideline reporter for a bunch of iconic NBC games.
So you couldn't. Well, every Bulls game.
Yeah.
Every Bulls game we did, and we did all those championships. So there was a time there that it was a hell of a run and a lot of fun. I had such a good time.
I used to have the seats. My dad had the seats at the Celtic games in the tunnel, where you guys would hang out,
right?
Because you'd have to grab somebody.
Oh, right.
And we all thought you were in the bag for the Bulls. We were all like, man, that guy's pro Jordan. We don't like this guy. We kind of all stink-eyed you a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Well, people do that because the thing is about that time, Michael and I were very good friends.
Right.
So every week we had a Chicago game. So on Friday night I'd fly out and stay at the house and then just go to the game on Sunday and do the thing. There was no way I was still objective, but there was no way of hiding the friendship between us. We were still friends, but...
I didn't say it was rational that we felt that way.
And you always interview the star of the game. Who was always the star of the game?
Right. Michael Jordan.
So I had nothing to do with that, kind of.
When did you start to realize that he was becoming, too famous to the point where his life had become this life where he's trapped in hotel suites and high-stakes casino rooms, and that's all he could basically do?
One time, we were in Paris, and he had a security guard. So we would come out of the hotel, and we'd get in this van, and there would be 2 vans in the front, and then 2 vans in the back, and then some motorcycle guys on the side. And I went, this is, what the hell, what? I think you're under house arrest is what it is. And because we went to a cigar shop. So the guy zipped through the streets, and they had the wow things going on. And when he pulled up to the cigar shop, he went up on the sidewalk and got so that when you opened the door, you took 1 step and went in the store.
Right.
People were walking around the cars, and I went, okay, this is probably it. And you know what? It's the only time I ever saw him in the game. You've never seen him. He started dribbling through his legs. Cameras flashing all over everywhere. It's the only time I ever saw him in his whole career that he gave them a show. I mean, trick shots, through the legs, wraparounds, all kind of stuff like that. It's like, okay, in 15 years, I'd never seen him do that ever at all. But He was in Paris and gave him a show, which was kind of cool.
I wrote about this once. He's the only player, I've been going to basketball games for 40 years. He's the only player I've ever seen that when he would come out in the pregame warm-ups, the whole arena would stop.
Yeah.
And it was just people either just staring at him like he was Godzilla or like the Loch Ness Monster or something. And then people taking pictures, and everybody was just looking at him. There was no other people on the court. It was just him. They're just staring at him.
See, you have this knowledge that of all the sports people that you've seen,
Yeah.
this guy always performed.
Yes.
I mean, this is not from a friend standpoint. This is from a standpoint of me watching all kinds of sports. I never saw him at a bad game.
Bird was like that too, where when he was on the
Bird
road,
certainly was.
He knew, and I think Magic was probably like this, where he knew if he was on the road, this
Yes,
might
Magic
be the
was.
one time that people saw him in person, and he had to take care of that person.
These guys, it was just something a lot of guys have an off night, or I can remember in my career going to watch somebody play and the guy would get 8 points.
Yeah.
He's like, what is that? But I never saw Michael, and I guess the guys that you named, it was sort of progression. They had sort of set the table, Magic, Larry, and then Michael. And then after that, it didn't, that's kind of, and then Kobe, and then it kind of stopped.
But you got along with Stern too.
You know how I met
You
David?
get along with everybody.
Here's how I met David Stern. I'm in Howard Cosell's office.
You got along with Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell was my man.
You got along with everybody.
Howard Cosell was my main man for some
You're
reason.
the only person who's ever said that.
I loved Howard. Loved him. He was funny. He was entertaining. I used to watch Monday Night Football at his apartment over here when I first moved to New York.
Right.
You know, I watched Monday Night Football with him. I used to watch Monday Night Football with Miles Davis. I don't know. I was at a dinner sitting next to Miles Davis, and we were talking about something. He was telling me about some doctor he had gone to and everything. So he goes, "Call me, man. Call me. Here's my number." And then they gave me the number, and I went, "Man, Miles Davis, man. I've been a fan of his for all my life." And then he kept going like this, "You ain't gonna call me. You ain't gonna call me, are you?" Just kept pushing it. So I finally called him, and then we got to be pretty good friends. Now, back to Howard Cosell. I'm in Howard Cosell's office. When I quit playing football, he tried to get ABC to hire me. ABC only wanted me to do football. You know, we're off you can come and you can be a football color commentator. NBC let me do all sports. So I never went to ABC. So I'm in his office one time, and Howard was one of these guys where he picks up the phone and he goes, "Do you know David Stern?" I go, "No, I don't know David Stern." He picked up the phone and calls him up, "David, it's Howard. I'm sitting here with Ahmad Rashad." Talk to him. I don't know what to say.
Were you on the phone?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. "Hey, David." David goes, "Hey, how you doing?" "How you doing?" And that's the way we first met.
Right.
Yeah, just from an office over in the West Side.
Can we talk about conspiracies?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. So Jordan leaves to play baseball. Mm-hmm. Conspiracy was that Stern got rid of him.
Right.
You were friends with both. True or not true?
Not true.
Jordan flu game.
Yeah.
People thought he went out the night before that was food poisoning. True or not true?
Pizza, food poisoning. He was in his room playing cards.
You interviewed him that night, right?
I was in the room.
You were in the room for the food poisoning.
But not
This
long.
is why we have him on the podcast.
Not long. But I know the pizza came and he didn't go out of that room.
Were you there for the JFK assassination or no?
No, I don't remember that one.
Okay.
I missed that.
So food poisoning for MJ.
Yeah, food poisoning. In Utah, right?
Was that the most amazing MJ performance you've seen?
No, you know what? I was talking to Quinn Buckner the other day because we used to cover all these games. And every game, he would do something that would be so amazing, so much better. You know, we'd see the game, it's like, that was up there, man. No way he can play any better. Next game was like, better than the last one. And it just got better and better and better. We even thought about, because we would sit, after every game, we would always go somewhere and sit down and rehash the game. It'd be Michael, Howard White, Quinn Buckner, myself, and we'd rehash the whole game. I said, we should probably do this on tape and then show the game in the way we used to do it back in the day. Because it was just one of those things where we just kind of sort of sat around, talked about what had happened, and we never thought it would get better, and it got better every single game. This is for every playoff. I mean, in the Seattle series, the Utah series, all of those, Detroit series. I went out to dinner with Isaiah during the thing, and I told Michael, I said, I'm going.
So you somehow stayed friends with Isaiah too?
Yeah, I said I'm going to go out to dinner with Isaiah. He asked me, I'm going to go out to dinner with him. He goes, man, all he's trying to do is try to get some secrets or something, because he's like, I don't have no secrets. You just go there. I don't know. So I go, and so Isaiah tells me, he goes, let me just tell you something. When I look in Michael Jordan's eyes, I see myself. I mean, the hunger he had for winning a championship. So I remember going back to him. I said, man, last night when I talked to Isaiah, he said when he looks in your eyes, he sees himself. He said, man, that's some bullshit. It's so funny. This guy, Michael, has such a way of bringing it all down to,
right.
It's like.
Well, he's the most competitive guy of all time.
So I beat him yesterday. We played 20-20-20. Beat him 3 ways yesterday. We played golf yesterday.
Yeah.
We play golf every day.
Yeah.
Old people being still competitive in a game that you don't have to run or jump.
Can he do anything that there isn't some sort of stakes?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's $20 we played, 20-20-20.
Like when you're driving to a restaurant, is he wagering with you?
No.
I bet I can get there first?
No, but one time coming back from the airport, there's 2 different ways to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to go this way, it's quicker. No, I'm going to go that way. So he went that way, I went the other way, we raced home. This was a month ago. Old people. Man, maybe like we're on bikes. I'm going to ride bikes from the boys club. Still get home faster. Just silly stuff, but it's silly.
Are you're probably, his Hall of Fame speech was pretty polarizing, but all the people who knew him thought, they were like, that's the real Michael. What are you guys upset about? That's him. Did you feel that way?
Yes, I did. I knew it was going to get misunderstood because people didn't understand that all the people he talked about were the inspiration to him being...
driving him.
Yeah. And the thing that the memory said about Dean Smith, Dean didn't want him on the cover or something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But those things were the things that drive him. It wasn't like he has any sort of... He didn't bring that guy that beat him out of his team in high school to the event to embarrass him. He just brought him there to say, this is one of the guys that when I didn't make the team and that guy make the team, he's the guy that I went back and I tried to do my game. Because he's a big-hearted guy.
Yeah.
Big-hearted guy. Not a nasty guy at all.
So you did a Kobe interview for NBA TV that's on Monday, 9 p.m., the day after the All-Star game.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm older now, but I always get offended when anybody tries to put anybody in Jordan's class. Okay. I just feel like Jordan's like up here, and it's like, this guy kind of got in the ballpark, but I was there for Jordan. I just think nobody was like Jordan.
No, and the new people didn't see him. They just kind of hear about him.
I'm kind of amazed by that, actually.
So when I said the thing about Kobe, in my mind, if there was anybody in Kobe's era that was like Michael, it was Kobe. And I say like-minded because they both have that put your foot on their throat kind of win mentality. And nobody else has that. Michael respects Kobe tremendously for the work ethic. But in terms of, and I think when Kobe quits, that whole era's done. The whole Jordan, compare him to anybody, there's nobody else to compare to Michael Jordan. Kobe would have been the last. I don't see anybody that you can compare to Michael.
From the crazy competitive standpoint, the only guy who's even like a hint of being in the ballpark would be Westbrook for me. I think Westbrook's like a maniac.
He is a maniac, but they're not the same results.
But they're not the same. Yeah, not the same talent.
Yeah, I mean you can have.
But the way he cares reminds me of how Jordan cared and Kobe cared. You know?
Yeah, you're right. Because that dude's playing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's like in freaking. he's
like
in
2
Utah
steps at the basket.
Yeah, he's in Utah on a Tuesday night and he's trying to crush them. Right. And it's like this team that's going to the lottery.
But sometimes he does it to. To the downfall of the rest of the guys on the team. True. You know what I mean? So that that attitude, while it's a great attitude to have, sometimes it doesn't work in a team setting like it should. I mean, you got to keep up with that. Whereas Michael at least could sort of get the most out of some slugs that he had playing on that team.
Don't you think that's part of why Jordan came back for those 2 Wizard seasons? Because he retires and everybody's like, Kobe's the next one, Grant Hill's the next one, Iverson, and
how about this one?
I feel like he was just sitting there going, you know what? I've had it. I'm coming back.
How about this one, which I bet you've not ever thought about?
Okay.
Maybe he came back because he was trying to buy a team.
Oh.
So when he came back to Washington, they came back to Washington, remember he was going to be a part owner, or he did come back and was a part owner.
Well, that guy
then he gave that up
to
play because the guy talked him into playing.
And then backstabbed him.
Mm-hmm, then backstabbed him. But when he left, next thing up, he bought a team. So his reason to come back in Washington was that he was trying to buy a team. That's what he wanted to do. And so he was coming back to do that. So then the guy goes, hey, if you just play one time in my lifetime, I want you to play. So he played 1 year, and that thing didn't quite work out. But his whole, if you ask him, he will say that the reason I came back was for,
to eventually take control of the Washington team.
Yes, to take control of the Washington team.
But he ended up with the Charlotte team for a great price.
And
now every team, that's like all beachfront real estate now, those NBA teams.
What, are they worth $1 billion now? Holy smokes.
Wait till Atlanta goes for I actually don't think Atlanta's going to sell. I don't think that guy's going to end up selling the team. But I think that would go for $1 billion.
Are they, are they filling up the gate even with the record that they have? That's good. And it's also good to see these small market teams doing well.
Yeah.
That's kind of because they kept thinking, oh man, Memphis is going to do their Oklahoma City. When you go to these places, the entire town turns out. It's the biggest thing in town. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I also think it doesn't really matter where people play now.
You're right.
Chicago, New York, LA used to matter. Now
it's
like all these games are on TV.
You're absolutely right. Because you're used to oh, this guy's not going. You used to be able to say that guy's not going to go there. The only place it seems like they're having problems is Utah.
Right. Most beautiful woman you've ever been in the same room with.
Oh my God.
I had to ask you one girl's question.
I know, man. I don't.
Come on.
There's a lot
one doesn't jump to mind?
No.
45 years of being in rooms with beautiful women.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Nothing?
I'd hate to miss one.
Jane Kennedy?
Jane Kennedy was all right, but that was the old days.
I know. That's where I'm going. I'm going old days.
Oh, Jane Kennedy was pretty. She was pretty. How about Maude Adams?
Wow, you went way back.
Well, she was one of them.
She was Rollerball, James Caan. I remember Maude Adams.
Maude Adams. Yeah, she was always one of them James Bond girls.
Can we do another podcast that's not recorded where we just talk about women for an hour?
That would be fun, as a matter of fact. See, that would be fun. See, because I like it, though, when you remember. I don't like it when I remember, and then the person I'm talking to is like, I don't quite remember that. I mean, I have to call my dad, see if he remembers that. See, but you remember. So that makes it more fun to talk about. But we could talk about a lot of stuff. We had so much fun, and you've had a lot of fun yourself.
I feel like at some point you need to write a book or do some sort of story series or something. I'm going to talk. Dan Flores and we're going to talk about
Dan's
this.
a good man.
Yeah, we got to do some sort of documentary, something with you. I feel like you have just this wealth of stories.
It goes back to Dan's era, too, because I knew all those guys, the Lucius Allens and the Wilts and all those guys. I just hadn't, and I had been, it was one of those things where I was such a fan of these people, and then I think when I met them, okay, here's a story I never told this story publicly.
Great.
All right. So, I was in Las Vegas one time. I was about 25 years old. And I was backstage at a concert, and I had a brand new suit and everything. And I walked in the room, and sitting in the room was Frank Sinatra. Oh my gosh, it was people that I thought weren't really real. Sammy Davis Jr. was
Dean
in
Martin,
there,
like that old crew.
and also, this lady just passed away. That was married to Humphrey Bogart.
Lauren Bacall?
Lauren Bacall is
beautiful at the time.
Absolutely beautiful. And I'm playing I just finished playing for Oregon. It was like between my Oregon and St. Louis or Buffalo days, one or the other. So I'm in the room, and Frank Sinatra's sitting over there. So he sees me coming in the room. I'm like, man, that's Frank Sinatra in my mind. I'm by myself. And so he goes, hey, this cat played for Oregon. He's a sports fan.
Yeah.
Come sit down over here. I go over and sit down. We start talking about the game last week and the whole thing. I'm feeling pretty good. Talking to Frank Sinatra, and there's this big bowl of guacamole on the table. And there's these chips over here on the side. And so we're talking, and I'm thinking, and I kept thinking about, man, I tell my mom, that I met this guy, I'm talking to the guy and the whole thing. So we're talking, and Lauren Bacall, she's adding everything. So I take one of these chips, and I dig it in the guacamole, a big old lump, man, like bigger than a tablespoonful, 2 tablespoonfuls. And I put it in my mouth. And just as I bite down on it, it's wasabi. My whole head blows up. my whole head blows up. I'm sweating worse than I'm sweating now. Coming out of my suit, I think I passed out. And all I could do is when I looked up, Frank Sinatra staring at me, and he goes like this. This cat loves wasabi. I was so embarrassed, man. I couldn't get up. Sweat all at the back of my jacket. I'm looking over at Lauren Bacall. She's looking at me like, this dude's something wrong with him like that. It's the worst. I never forget it. And then about 3 years later, I'm in Monte Carlo, running into Frank Sinatra again. He goes, cat loves some wasabi.
How often do you come to L.A.?
Not very often. Not very. I used to come out there a lot of times. Not very often.
Will you come by, when you're in LA, will you come by and do another podcast and tell more stories?
Anytime, absolutely, man. I
I
enjoy
don't
this.
think you're ever going to run out. You're so underrated for just not having all these great stories, and
something about the stories was when they're just between us.
Yeah.
Like today's just between us, so then it becomes easier. And I think as time goes by, they become easier. And then as you start thinking about it, it's like, there's a lot of characters. There's
you just told a Frank Sinatra story out of nowhere.
I know, it's so funny, but when I tell people, they're going, who's Frank Sinatra?
Ahmad Rashad,
Yes,
pleasure.
sir.
I'm glad we finally were able to put something on podcast form. Enjoy All-Star Weekend, and we'll be back more after this.
Target percent off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at PodCenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
Hey, what you got there, Golick?
The new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole.
Man, that looks good.
Yeah, this new guac is really bringing the flavor.
Got one for me too, right?
Well, yes and no. Mostly no. Well, really, all no.
Try the irresistible new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole, juicy grilled chicken strips with Monterey cheddar, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of jalapeno. Subway, eat fresh.